Welcome, little boys, family hostages, and other Zygon templates, to the 130th episode of an Unearthly Podcast, streaming live on the 4th of November 2015, and featuring the Zygon Invasion by Peter Harness. I am Bill Sylvia, the Man in Black, and with me are Mad Matt Winchell.
You're next!
Randy Ronson McCulloch.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
Aaron Romeo Moon Burke.
Woo! Ice cream!
And Tim the Enchanter Sheridan.
Reagan!
Head tilt.
Everyone was saying random things. I had to say something random too.
Okay.
Don't be a copycat, Tim.
I wasn't. I said something completely original.
Yeah, I guess.
You never expected me to say that, did you?
Yeah.
Reaganomics. Anyway.
All right. Well, we can be a little leisurely today, as this is a non-scoring episode. But
Yes.
let's not take too long. We actually do have quite a bit of news.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna start out here with a couple of birthdays. The first is Michael Jaston, who played the Valeyard in the Sixth Doctor Trial of a Time Lord series, turned 80 on October 29th.
And he's continued to play the Valeyard through this year in the Sixth Doctor: The Last Adventure.
Okay, that's audio, which I'm not caught up on.
Yeah.
But 80 is our milestone for a good run.
Mm-hmm.
So anything after this is bonus time. Also, a posthumous birthday for Richard Herndl, who played the first Doctor in the Five Doctors. Would have turned 95 yesterday. Herndl died shortly after filming the Five Doctors, within a couple of years, I believe.
Which makes us all wonder how much longer William Russell has left as the third actor to play that Doctor.
True, but he hasn't played it on TV.
True.
Yes, he has.
No,
That special was on TV.
that was not him. That was there is. I know what you're talking about in the voice actor for Day of the Doctor, right? That was a different guy.
No.
No.
I think he's thinking of Adventures in Space and Time.
That would be.
Oh, I'm thinking the wrong actor then, but still.
Oh yeah, that would. Oh, you're talking about the guy that played Hartnell. Damn it! I always mix up his real name with other people's. Filch.
Yeah. I can never remember his name off the top
Is it
of my
David
head.
Bradley?
That sounds about right.
His name, if so, his name sounds too close to Doug Bradley, which is why it is David Bradley.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep, and as far as I'm aware, he's still going strong.
Yeah.
For now.
We also have a couple of lost stories, a couple of deaths to affect the Doctor Who universe. The first is a honest-to-God shame, and that is William Bird Wilkins, the actor who played the preacher in A Town Called Mercy, died. What is this? On October 31st. He also was in the Wayne Kramer film Running Scared and played a bouncer in the 1998 comedy Overnight Delivery. He died of cancer, terminal pancreatic cancer. He had declined chemo, saying he wanted to live out his days without doctors and toxic chemo. So
I wonder if the person writing the article capitalized Doctor out of habit.
Quite possible.
It's like I don't think he was trying to live out his days without that kind of Doctor.
Yeah.
The one man who could have probably taken you someplace where you could have popped a couple of pills and been fine. Yeah, but he died on Halloween. And then another death that was so recently announced that it hasn't actually been on our usual news sites, and that is Kenneth Gilbert, who played the World Ecology Bureau official Richard Dunbar in the Tom Baker classic serial Seeds of Doom died at the age of 84 today. Well, it was at least announced today.
Wow.
He was born in 1931, died today. He's also known for his work in other things. He did some stint with theater. Was in The Master Builder. He worked with Derek Jacobi in Anthony and Cleopatra. He was in William Russell's Hamlet, Friar Tuck and Wolf's Head, The Legend of Robin Hood. The New Avengers, 1976. Enemy at the Door, Gentle Touch, Cracker, Midsummer Murders, The Sweeney, Ivanhoe. He has a lot of credits for years. And at 84, he did make the good run, plus 4 years. So as of this time, there is no announcing what he died of.
Yeah, I was just looking for that. But, I mean, at this age, it's kind of generally beyond that, although not entirely.
Yeah.
He did work in the cancer era, in the asbestos days, but
it was thankfully in the later asbestos days, so they might have caught it if he did have any of it.
But that is a true shame for a British actor of such standing.
Yeah, I remember that episode. That's a good episode.
I just saw it on Breakfast with Baker not that long ago.
Oh.
It was actually pretty dark, even.
Oh, that was the era of dark Doctor Who.
I'll have to catch it.
We will review it eventually.
We will review Seeds of Doom eventually, one of these days. We need more Tum.
Dum-da-dum-dum.
And that does it for our births and deaths. So we will then move on here to our regular season news.
Boop. Alright, so for latest episode, we've got overnight figures for the Zygon Invasion overnight viewings. Figures are 3.87 million, or 19% share, placing it in 5th for the day. All right, let me see here. Go to more information. All right, yep. That's according to unofficial viewing overnight viewing figures. Let me see here. Top of the day was Strictly Come Dancing, and with an audience of 9.35 million watching. The Dancing had a nearly 4 million lead over the second place, The X Factor, which was placed directly opposite Doctor Who and managed 5.63 million. The Rugby Cup Final, shown on ITV in the afternoon, had 4.92 million watching, while Pointless Celebrities, for the first time this year, managed to beat the Doctor in the overnight figures, although this position is likely to be reversed when the final figures are published next week. Overall, Doctor Who currently stands as 38th for the week.
Ouch. It was a rough week, apparently. Holy cow.
Well, some of that Strictly Come Dancing and X Factor frequently beat the pants off of Doctor Who, so...
Is it wrong that when you said Strictly Come Dancing, the image that popped into my head was Captain Jack saying challenge accepted?
Yeah, and also Pointless Celebrities. Enough said.
Yeah, that one's new. That one's a newbie. So.
Yeah. Alright, so the Zygon Invasion Appreciation Index wound up being a score of 82. The Appreciation Index, or AI, is a measure of how much the audience enjoyed the program. The score out of 100 is compiled by a specially selected panel of around 5,000 people who go online and rate and comment on programs. The highest score of the weekend went to Rugby World Cup Final on ITV, which scored 87. With Sunday's overnight viewing figures now available, Doctor Who finished as the 46th most watched program of the week. Consolidated figures will be published next week.
I would also say, considering the overwhelmingly positive reception I'm seeing from this episode online, there's more and more indication that the AI system may just be completely outdated.
It's starting to become noticeably flawed, yeah.
We
This is
can't
awfully
forget
low.
It's becoming Nielsen-y.
Yeah.
Nielsen-y, yeah. We also cannot forget the Australian overnight ratings for the Zygon Invasion and final ratings for The Girl Who Died. The Zygon Invasion has debuted in Australia, averaging 430,000 viewers in the 5 major capital cities. It was the highest rating ABC drama of the day. That's the Australian Broadcasting Company. Australian British Broadcasting Company, yeah, right.
Known as the ABC, for those of you in the know.
Mm-hmm. And the 13th highest rating program of the day overall. These ratings do not include iView, regional, or time-shifted viewers. Meanwhile, including time-shifted viewers, The Girl Who Died averaged 644,000 consolidated viewers in the 5 major capital cities. With 149,000 extra viewers, it was, with Quantico, the equal highest time-shifted program of the day. The third highest time-shifted program had an extra 131,000 viewers, and the 10th highest rating program of the day overall. These ratings do not include iView or regional viewers.
All right.
Info dump.
We also have the official rating for The Woman Who Lived, which now has an official consolidated rating of 6.11 million viewers. Little over 6 1/10. This is, of course, issued by Barb and includes everything within a week of transmission, does not include iPlayer. And that makes it the 8th most watched program on BBC television and 3rd overall on Saturday. It finished 25th in the chart. And, of course, is losing to shows like Strictly Come Dancing, which had 10.42 million.
People's brains are full of mush.
I'm sure that's what they say about us.
Planet of the Pudding Heads.
Pudding!
Pudding.
No, pudding is something totally different.
All right.
Man who writes dear.
Oh, is it like chocolate pudding?
Anyway, images of the Zygon Invasion.
Yes. Images. We have images, publicity images of the Zygon Invasion. Shape-shifting Zygons are everywhere in the UK, and there is no way of knowing who to trust. With unit neutralized, only the Doctor stands in their way. But how do you stop a war? And what can the Doctor do to save his friends? Watch this episode to find out. Maybe.
Dun, dun, dun.
The first image is such a publicity photo.
Yeah.
These images are all spoilers. The Doctor's not dead in any of them.
Neither is Kate Lethbridge Stewart.
Well, I mean, we'll talk about that
Clara.
later, but I never got the impression that she would be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I figured she would have lived somehow.
I watched Day of the Doctor. I know the tricks.
It would not surprise me if we discover the fact that Kate Stewart's not a Zygon the entire time and is merely posing as her Zygon replacer.
They're trying to race back and get there in time. Yeah, it wouldn't be the first time she pulled that.
That's what I mean. Day of the Doctor.
Yep.
Except she's not going to marry the Doctor afterwards. She knows better.
But what would Father say?
That too. Oh God. I could just imagine his painting frowning so hard it falls off the wall.
Are you kidding? Cyber Brigadier would have to come back in order to kick her ass.
He just comes back, grabs the doctor, flies into the stratosphere.
Delete.
I kind of like this photograph of the guy who's like halfway between his transformation.
Yeah, I was looking at that because I'm like, is that a zombie?
Yeah, it looks pretty cool.
Which one?
It's fourth on the top. I'm assuming that's the one.
Oh,
we saw.
yes.
Unless there's another.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, he's looking a bit suckery.
I can see some noticeable different faces in this episode, by the way. Looking at these Zygons. Interesting.
Yeah, they all have kind of more distinctive facial features. They're not just clones of each other.
Right.
That's actually pretty cool.
I'm also noting, and I'm assuming that this is not a makeup error, that it looks like it's lighter lipstick than the Bonnie Clara. So this might be real Clara.
Oh, all the Claras are real.
It's hard to tell.
I don't think there should be a change in lipstick. I think there's just one where the lighting isn't quite on her lips like it is in the other shots.
I've seen other articles noting the fact that Bonnie Clara did not quite get the lipstick right. Although when rewatched the episode, I forgot to check for the lipstick changing in the beginning.
Yeah, I did notice it actually. That was actually one of the key things I watched for the second bit, because I was like, wait a second, her lipstick is way darker than it was before.
Right.
It's a lot more noticeable.
Well, you'll notice in the fourth row, first picture, you've got the Doctor, Clara, and Osgood all in a sit-up, and we know that Bonnie Clara would not be sitting comfortably in that little crowd right now, especially after having, launched a rocket to attempt to kill the Doctor.
Also, Clara has her hair down, and Bonnie Clara has her hair up.
Yep, that's kind of a tell.
Oh, yeah, good point. Because the one that I was thinking was Bonnie, third row, last picture. Yeah, hair's up.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got fourth, and that's hair down.
What's that box she's holding? That looks Gallifreyan.
That's the Osgood box.
Ah, that's the Osgood box. Okay,
I was going to say. I remember it's the box that Osgood had.
During the episode. Mm-hmm. So it is Gallifreyan, but
possibly.
We know what it is.
It is that.
It was given to her by the Doctor, so it probably is.
It's made by the Doctor, so I'm considering that.
As far as we know, the Doctor freaking gave her the moment, okay?
Yeah, the moment. That's what I was going to say.
By the way, since we see him wearing his sunglasses here, I'm just going to say that I'm pretty sure that's how he gets past the cliffhanger. That's my prediction.
He's going to sonic the missile somehow.
Reverses the polarity or something.
Does he apparently he gives them to Osgood at some point.
Yep.
By looks of it, yeah.
Yeah.
And she's looking at herself in the rearview mirror, or in a mirror, side mirror for a car.
Well, what would you do if someone just gave you some new sunglasses? Go to the nearest mirror.
Actually, maybe she's trying to unlock the door.
I'm wondering if the glasses are allowing her to see something in the mirror that she didn't think was possible. Like maybe she's actually seeing...
She maybe unlocks the door.
I have to go with Matt. Yeah, with Matt and Bill on this, because if you look at that picture and you look at the picture next to it,
she's not looking at the mirror, I don't think.
She was sonicking the door, and now she's opening the door. I think those two pictures were taken just part seconds from each other.
Quite possibly, yeah.
Okay.
I'm thinking that she's unlocking the door.
Apparently Skyping somebody.
Yeah, and she seems to be fairly at ease in all the other ones, too. I mean, still kind of intense, because she's trying to get away, obviously, but...
I still don't like that sweater.
Yeah, it is kind of goofy.
It doesn't look good on her at all. That tan sweater she's wearing.
It's kind of supposed to look like a unit field sweater. Like something like the brig would wear, but more sciencey.
I think an army sweater, and I think it would be green.
Yeah.
Should be, but she's...
But Unit's colors has always been that color, though.
I mean, at that point, I nitpicking, but still.
Unit's colors have always been that color.
I'm looking at the photo of them on the beach, and
I was just gonna say, yeah, it looks like the Doctor and Osgood go on a romantic stroll on the beach.
Yeah, guys, I'm looking. I see a red thing in the distance, and I know people are going to be speculating about what this red dot thing
is.
Looks like a sail.
Yeah, it looks like either a sailboat or a buoy.
Or the Loch Ness Monster turned red.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Tim's trying to speak. Go ahead, Tim.
I know this is the key that unravels the entire mystery of the death of the Doctor. I feel it in my bones that this red buoy will spell doom for the Doctor.
I smell sarcasm.
I smell bullshit, Tim.
I actually have
It would be so cool if it was Nessie reprogrammed by the Doctor, though.
Yes.
Or even better, driven by Harry Sullivan.
No, Bill, even better. Nessie's the thing that stops the missile.
Ah, that would be awesome.
I'm just taking that, remembering that time we saw that photograph, and there was all these predictions based on this one photograph that...
Like I said, I smell sarcasm.
If we have gone into pointless sarcasm, we've obviously spent too much time on this.
I was gonna say I actually had a point to make.
Oh, go ahead. Point.
Yes, if you look at our sweater, it's obviously kind of a take on the Seventh Doctor's coat. It's got like the patches, the what would be.
I like the question mark jumper she wears in a different scene much better.
Yeah.
Yeah, she has a question mark jumper, and she's been wearing this before. She's been wearing this with everything she's worn since we first saw her in Day. That's the same sweater that she wore under the scarf in Day.
Yeah, so, I'm pretty sure that's her actual uniform shirt, is what I'm thinking. It's just that she normally has a lot more stuff to cover it up with.
Mm-hmm.
Anywho, are we ready to move on?
Yeah, if we can get Bill from stopping to be anal retentively looking for old pictures of Osgood.
Sorry, I blew up the...
God damn it, Bill!
White lab open day, but... Anyway... Doctor Who Festival, we have been covering announcements related to that. This is referring to the UK festival, I believe, in London at this point. Jenna Coleman has been announced as appearing, as well as Mark Gatiss. They join already announced Peter Capaldi, Michelle Gomez, and Ingrid Oliver, and Stephen Moffat. The team from Millennium FX is also going to be joining them at the festival.
Okay.
We've pretty much covered the panels and such that will be occurring, but that's just updates to guests appearing. Again, this festival is the 13th through the 15th of November. I'm trying to see if this article includes a refresher as to where it is, but I'm not seeing it if it is. That's really about it for that piece.
All right. So, the British Film Institute is currently awarding the greatest screen couple of all time. Amongst the nominees are the Doctor and Rose Tyler, and apparently Jack Harkness and Ianto Jones, although I don't actually see the news piece on that one.
Yeah, I saw that by scrolling through the actual nominees. It's not included in the news piece. That said, you know what name we did not have to say? River Song.
Thank you, God.
Thank you, BFI.
Mm-hmm. But apparently, according to David Tennant's blog, the Doctor and Rose's will they, won't they, do they, don't they relationship was thrilling to fans and left many heartbroken at the end of Doomsday.
I almost voted for them, and then I just saw Willow and Tara are an option, and I have to.
And I remember having to poke you into watching Buffy. But yeah, David Tennant spoke about it at a fan convention at the USA earlier this year. I wonder which one. Saying they're very different. Donna and Rose, they were both love stories, but different types. One was the best mate, one was a girlfriend, really. I know we don't say, but she sort of was. What was tragic about Donna was that he had to remove all that joy from her, take all those wonderful experiences. I think that was the tragedy of that goodbye. The tragedy of the goodbye for Rose, of course, was that they could never see each other again until they did.
But then not see each other again, and the fact that they were permanently separated again.
The poll was part of BFI's Love Season, which will see romantic screenings and events takes place from October to December, online and in the cinema. And you can find out from BFI's website.
Okie doke.
All right, so we've got you can earn a chance to win a Doctor Who Season 9 Part 1 box set. And that is by tweeting or let me see here. Tweeting and following the cult box here. So yeah, and it's just at Cult Box TV on Twitter. And you just follow them and retweet for a chance to win 5 Doctor Who Season 9 Part 1 box sets. So they've got a little retweet here that they want you to do for them. So yeah, looks pretty cool. It's here, and it contains the first three 2-part stories, plus 3 exclusive mini documentaries on how each 2-parter was created.
So it's basically episodes 1 through 6.
Mm-hmm.
And the behind-the-scenes stuff they got.
Yep.
Cool.
That's cool.
Okie doke.
All right. Well, recently Peter Capaldi talked to BBC Radio 1 on the Radio 1 breakfast show with Nick Grimshaw, and topics included Jenna Coleman's unexpected last Doctor Who scene, and Maisie Williams is teasing him with Game of Thrones spoilers.
That's
spoilers.
great.
Spoilers, people get raped and murdered.
Dun dun dun.
Well, yeah, it's Game of Thrones.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Doctor Who. I'm like,
That would be quite a twist.
That would be the last twist of the show, I think.
I don't know if murder would be that much of a twist. But
No. Murder's par for the course, but I think they keep the rape out of it.
Yes, it's like...
Usually. I'm pretty sure it's happened once or twice, but not often and not explicitly.
Well, it is a kid's show.
It's a family
and we have,
picture.
What, Game of Thrones is a kid's show?
Doctor
that put it off the
Doctor Who is actually considered family viewing, not kids viewing anymore.
Well,
means they can
put
be
the
a
rape
little
on
more
screen
mature.
so you can explain it to your kids while you watch it with them. It's fun for the whole family.
I'm also sure that they're not going to cover incest, too.
Also, Peter Capaldi had some choice things to say, such as, "I think those fans of the sonic screwdriver should not fret. Fear not. Don't lose any sleep. But I do like the shades."
You had to give him a Highland accent.
That was a bad Highland accent.
I'm
not going to try because my Highland accent sounds like James Doohan. And I have been told by Scottish people that's not what Scottish people sound like. So unless somebody's doing a proper Scottish accent in front of me, I can't do one.
Scotty.
But that means that, yes, that means that that is implying that the sonic screwdriver will be returning. Thank you.
And he also implies that Jenna Coleman's last scene is going to be very sad. Get lots of hankies ready.
Of course, that's what they say. That's what they say whenever a companion departs. because they said the same thing about Amy Pond, and I was and while the scene was touching, I'm like, and what's the big deal? She gets to live till the end of she gets to live with
and
Rory.
I'm still saying that to people on Facebook who are talking about Amy and Rory died. It was so sad, and I'm like, they died of old age. Happy.
Yeah.
Yes.
What's so
we should all
sad
be
about
so
it?
Bunch of
lucky.
wankers.
Yeah, so I'm wondering if Moffat is actually going to have the cojones to kill Clara. I dare you. I dare you.
You see, Clara will get trapped in an alternate universe where Danny Pink is still alive.
God fucking damn it.
If I was a companion, I'd want my departure to be hilarious.
Well, they haven't explained Orson Pink yet.
Yeah, I'm wondering if Moffat's regretting that one now.
Probably.
I don't
is.
know. He had some pretty trollish comments at the time. I think he's just laughing at that.
Except that I break the timeline over here. Oopsie. Guess it never happened.
There's one other piece of news that was big in this, and that's the fact, and this is a confirmation. This appeared also earlier this week. Is that Maisie Williams is returning for episode 10.
Mm-hmm.
Which is the episode, correct me if I'm wrong, featuring... damn it, my brain wants to say Banksy, but that's not correct. What's his name again? You know who I'm talking about, though, right? From Flatline.
I think so.
Yeah, I think, as I recall from the description, yes, he's in that episode. I can't remember his name.
Riggsy. Okay.
Riggsy.
He is basically a Banksy clone, so...
Oh, and by the way, you can listen to this whole interview on the BBC iPlayer.
Which means only British fans then, because...
It's probably on YouTube somewhere.
It might be.
Possibly. I think it's time to move on.
All right.
So, Big Finish.
So that brings us on to Big Finish. We start off with some spin-off news featuring the Doctor Who cast. Doctor Who fans will mainly know him as writer Mark Gatiss. Fans of other spin-offs will know him as Mycroft Holmes. But in any case, Mark Gatiss is going to be playing Dracula in Big Finish's Dracula.
Oh, super.
And this is...
If he says blah, can we kill him?
Now, when you say Dracula, do you mean Dracula or Vlad the Impaler?
They just say Count Dracula, so I'm assuming it's an adaptation of Stoker. They've been doing most of these are adaptations lately, or at least a lot of the horror ones.
A full cast dramatization of Bram Stoker's Dracula.
It'll be released in May of next year, spanning 3 hours on 3 CDs with a bonus featuring behind-the-scenes interviews, and can be pre-ordered.
Mm-hmm.
Our second similar is that another Doctor Who cast member will be narrating an anthology or a collection, whichever you prefer to call it, named Carnacki the Ghost Finder, which features 6 of William Hope Hodgson's original stories: The Gateway of the Monster, The House Among the Laurels, The Whistling Room, The Horse of the Invisible, The Searcher of the End House, and The Thing Invisible. And the person who will be doing this is none other than Dan Starkey. And the reason I saved that for last is because I want you to picture Strax narrating ghost stories to you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes! It just needs to happen.
These will be released as a single volume, which can be pre-ordered for February 2016. This is a download-only release.
Only if he does it as Strax.
That's almost as bad as having Zim narrate something.
Oh,
Zim tells you tales of horror.
what's the difference?
Not a
The
lot,
little flesh
actually.
babies got afraid of the big wobbly thing in the sky. The end.
Our final piece of Big Finish. Some of you might be familiar with Unit Extinction, which is the scheduled first release of the new Who Unit stories, featuring Gemma Redgrave, I believe Ingrid Oliver, and the Autons. This will be released, 5 days from today on November 9th, this coming Monday. So we've talked about this one in some good detail, so there's really no reason to discuss that one much more. But that is coming this week. And it is good timing, piggybacking off of, or being in between, basically piggybacking off of a major unit storyline featuring those actors.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. 9th, actually. I should know the 9th because that's the... that's Monday, so that's 2 days after the end of the Zygon storyline. So they're timing that just perfectly. That all the Big Finish news?
Yes,
That
it is.
is all the Big Finish.
All right. So, in other news, a well-loved science fiction franchise is returning to television after over a decade of being off the air. No, I'm not talking about Doctor Who. I'm talking Star Trek, which disappeared from our screens in 2005 with the cancellation of the series Enterprise. Paramount and CBS Television has now announced that a new Star Trek series will be coming to the screen in 2017. Details are as yet unknown on which timeline this is going to be, what the title is going to be, what the characters are going to be, and if it's going to be the Enterprise or another ship in Starfleet. We don't know anything as of this point. We do know that the executive producer behind this is Alex Kurtzman, the surviving member of the trio of J.J. Abrams, Robert Orci, and him that were behind the first two of the new Star Trek movies. So that does leave some credence that it might be in the new movie universe, but that's not given. And so details it was just announced, details hard to find yet, but Star Trek will be returning, not next year, but the year after, which means that's going to be something else I'm going to have to add to my DVR.
Ahoy!
Hoi, hoi, hoi.
Yeah, between that, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Flash, Arrow, Legends of Tomorrow, Supergirl.
I actually have not started Supergirl yet. I am caught up on most of my shows except for Gotham. Although I say that knowing that a new Flash came out yesterday and a new Arrow came out today, so I'm no longer up to date.
I haven't watched those yet either. I've been a bit distracted.
I need to catch up on Gotham.
I Ash and the Evil Dead.
Oh God.
Yeah. I think I need a separate calendar just to keep track of my shows, in addition to the one that I use for school and work.
Yeah, Rand didn't even remember that we were recording Rebels tonight, Star Wars Rebels.
I'm just not used to it recording when I get back from picking her up at 8:30 to 9, and it's like, why is there a red dot on? Oh, it's recording Star Wars Rebels. That makes sense. But that Heroes Reborn, Walking Dead.
That's right. That
Game of
started
Thrones.
as well. I need to watch that also.
What?
Heroes Reborn.
That is actually pretty interesting if you were a fan of the original series. But yeah, there's so much stuff that gets recorded. Our DVR is going every night.
Or DVR.
which means when we get backlogged like this, we have to have a day that we sit there and watch everything, so that we don't get
most of what I've been doing when I put aside time to study this week has been catching up on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, that's the one that is actually only sort of kind of interesting to me. It's usually about halfway through the season that my interest in that begins to peak. And of course, I've got to figure out time this month to watch AKA Jessica Jones. Has that actually hit Netflix
Is
yet?
that out already?
I think that's later, November 20th.
By the way,
so
you do know that they dropped the AKA from the title, right?
No, I didn't.
Oh, no, yeah, they renamed it Marvel's Jessica Jones.
Sounds a bit better.
Jessica Jones, Jessica Jones.
AKA Jessica
Friday,
Jones
November
anyways.
20 is when it's supposed to come out.
Okay, so that gives me
yet.
that gives me 10 days to play Fallout 4 before I have to marathon that. But yeah, it's a big geek season.
Geek season implies that people are going out and hunting us.
Webbit season. Geek season.
Geek season, jock season, geek season, jock season, geek season, jock season, jock season, fire.
Well, it's one of the reasons why I don't really watch internet videos all that much.
Yeah.
Like I used to watch them all the time.
The general television available that's interesting to me is a whole lot more than it was 5 years ago.
See, I'm not into any of this, and I just I have too much of things I want to be recording. I am recording or putting up or keeping up with already.
Ninja Turtles being led by the 10th Doctor.
I watched part of that episode, yeah.
You saw what I was talking about then.
Yeah, well, I can actually just grab it on demand, so it's just like, okay. Only thing I can't do that on is Ash versus the Evil Dead, which is annoying the hell out of me.
August!
That episode, by the way, the first episode of that is available from stars.com, free for everybody. And I watched it, and it is actually very... if you liked Evil Dead 2 or Army of Darkness, you'd like this. It has all the correct levels of cheese.
And
yes,
the effects are actually really good.
the effects are good, and yet at the same time, it has that level of cheese because the chase cam is back.
Woo! The POV cam! It literally smashes through a car again.
Smashes through a car. I think it goes through a window at one point. Yeah, it looks... In an era where, television series can have these movie effect zombie qualities, case in point, The Walking Dead, there's no reason not to make an Evil Dead TV show.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they can finally do Freddy versus Jason versus Ash, even though Jason and Freddy have both been recast.
That's debatable.
So was Ash, but it didn't take.
Yeah, exactly. I would pay big money to see Robert Englund back in the makeup any day. Thank you.
Instead, we get to watch Bruce Campbell in his jolly aged goodness, looking even more decrepit than he did in Bubba Hotep.
Well, I don't know. He was pretty decrepit in that. He couldn't even walk straight, man.
Yes, but his jowls have grown down so that his chin no longer sticks out so much. The first thing I noticed, it's like, where's the chin?
There's enough chin.
There's enough
chin. We
chin
never have to worry
for
about
all
those
of
jowls.
Man, there's enough chin for all of us.
And I have yet to see him do crazy Ash stare. So I
get the feeling that's going to come up pretty soon, though. Sadly, we won't be able to see it.
I want to see more. I do want to see more. I just don't know where I'm going to be able to see more.
The
Or if I have to
DVDs.
wait, yeah, if I'm gonna have to wait for it to come out on DVD.
Mm.
Oh,
I wonder if they have any pre-release options ready for the DVDs. Because if they'll be out by my birthday, I wouldn't mind putting that on my birthday list.
Hmm.
Hint, hint, nudge, nudge, say no more.
Alrighty.
Nothing. Yeah, nothing on Amazon yet. I don't think.
Oh.
yeah. Well, the season 9.
Oh wait, there's a listing for DVD, but you can't order it, and it has no price or date.
Basically, Amazon's saying it will come out, but we don't know when, and we don't know how much.
Bugger.
And somebody already gave it a 5-star review.
5 out of 5.
I'm assuming
okay,
after
good,
watching
even
the
though
first
I can't
episode.
buy it.
Oh yeah, they watched the first episode.
Oh yeah, that first episode is great. I really want to see more of it.
Question is, will they keep putting out the episodes one at a time, or are they going to hide them way after the first ones? Are they not going to show anything about the first one? That is the question.
Probably they're not going to publicly release anything after the first one. That was just your pusher giving you your first dose of crack. The first one's always free. So now that they're hooked, they want you to get stars.
Can't
Yeah.
afford that crap.
Yeah, we can't. We certainly can't afford it. I told Rand that if he wanted it, we'd be going 50-50 on the cable. At that point, anyway.
Why would that be if I just covered the up cost? But anyway. I guess we should probably move on now to our 5-minute challenge.
It is time.
This time, yes.
Who wants to do the 5-minute challenge?
Hmm?
The crickets be chirping.
I think there's a Zygon over there that wants to do it.
Anybody?
I could do it if need be.
Hurry,
I
quick,
believe
before
we...
he does the Bueller bit.
Bueller.
Why don't you go ahead and do it, Matt? I'll pop up the stopwatch.
Okay, because I believe the last couple of times have been Tim and Bill, so...
Yeah, I'm just...
Okay, pulling up some images of Zygons first really quick here. There we go. Alright.
Give me a moment. And... You ready?
Ready.
In 3, 2, 1, go.
We start off the episode with both Osgood talking about their plans to try and keep the peace on the Earth between humans and Zygons. The Zygons have more or less peacefully coexisted now with the humans for a couple months at this point, and have been all sorted throughout the world. However, as the video ends, we find Osgood running for her life as we hear laser blasts. She's picked up by what is obviously a Zygon and zapped. A few moments later, we are at unit headquarters, and we see them watching footage of Osgood being taken away by 2 Zygons. It is obvious that the peace, no fire, has gone off now, and the Zygons are starting to attack and planning to invade. To this, before her capture, Osgood did send a message to the doctor, and he got the no hope scenario alarm sent by her. He comes back to Earth very quickly and starts to talk to the people who are supposed to be in control of the Zygons, which are 2 Zygons that look like little blonde twins. They say that they have things under hand and they're getting things back under control, only to momentarily later be kidnapped by Zygons underneath the doctor's nose, and he is unable to keep up with them through the red smoke as they run off in their vehicle. Moments later, we also see these two girls turn into Zygons and then zapped by other Zygons off screen as they are planning to take over all the Zygon factions at this point. The Doctor finally gets a hold of Kalar, gets her to show up at unit headquarters, and they start to make their plans. After a bit of reading over the footage and also finding the temporary Zygon base that was held within a school, they separate, leaving Kalara behind with one of the science unit members to take a look at things and try and get things organized unit-wise in Britain, while the Doctor and I can't remember her name now. Lethbridge Stewart both separate and go to different points in New Mexico. The Doctor is trying to go to one big Zygon village, while Lethbridge Stewart she has headed to Truth or Consequence in a actual city name in New Mexico to try and find the Zygon attack that happened and try to figure out where everything may have gone awry, as the Zygons are using the phrase truth or consequence as one of their key items throughout their videos. The Doctor finally manages to find Oswald and save her as the area is about to get nuked, taking also a Zygon hostage with them. Lethbridge Stewart, however, is attacked by a police officer who ends up being a Zygon after she figures out that the whole peace treaty no fire was stopped when one of the Zygons accidentally didn't up their fake human skins. And so things went awry from there, apparently. She is supposedly killed, but is highly unlikely, but we don't know for sure at this point. She sends the new fake Zygon, Lethbridge Stewart, sends a message back to Clara, who is also actually a fake Zygon as well, and has set up a trap for all of the unit members that were there in Britain and had them eradicated at the new secondary base of the Zygons. She also then proceeds out as the Doctor and Osgood are heading back to Britain in order to send a missile from a rocket launcher off after their airplane to make them crash and die, and presumably crushing all resistance against the Zygon invasion. The end.
Yes.
And you did it in 3 minutes, 58 seconds.
Ooh, just shy of 4.
Woohoo!
So let's talk about our likes and dislikes.
Yes.
What did you like in general about the episode, Matt?
In general, very nicely paced. Excellently paced. We seem to be having a lot of decently good paced episodes lately. This one was nonstop, point to A to point B. Get it, don't waste time, and done.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
There was not a moment wasted, and all of it was pretty much solidly paced to be advancing the plot instead of just wasting time. Nothing was frivolous, and if you actually paid attention, there's a lot of extra details to be found, as we were discussing earlier in this particular podcast.
Advancing the plot or providing exposition.
Yes,
That,
at the same time.
That Zygon in Truth or Consequences was rather expository.
Traps within traps. The Zygons are heavy thinkers on this one. They've always been usually heavy thinkers. That's why they made a Loch Ness Monster.
Yeah,
Yes,
they
they were going to destroy all
overthought
Britain.
that one.
They had the idea right, but they underestimated the Doctor's abilities as one of their major downfalls. But this one, they seem to have calculated the Doctor this time.
They know a lot more about him.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
They've had at least a couple decades to plan better.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that's my good thing.
All right. Tim?
I think my good thing of this episode was that the Doctor seemed to, actually know what he was doing. Or, I know the Doctor always knows what he's doing, but he doesn't always give off the vibe that he knows what he's doing.
like my complaint 2 episodes ago, where he gave the impression he pretty much seemed not to know what he was doing.
Yeah, but this one, like, he seemed like to like always be on top of it, even if things weren't going to his plan. At least he had a definite plan.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like because he knew like what to do and like how to be true to himself.
That is a little that is a little hopeful for this doctor, is that he does seem to be becoming more, I know what I'm doing, I know what I need to do, I know where my moralities lie. Here, at least he knew that he had to rescue somebody, pretty much from right off the bat.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
We'll see if his "I know what I'm doing" continues to hold through that to the next episode, or if now that he has Osgood, he's at a loss on how to stop this for a little bit. We'll see.
Well, I'm hopeful.
Bill?
I like the feeling of helplessness that's engendered throughout the episode. It starts off small, and it just as each scene goes on, it feels more and more helpless, and really, really builds up the threat. There's a lot of invasions of Earth, where you never really get that helpless feeling, and you just know, oh yeah, the doctor's going to solve this in a pretty easy way. Whereas here, you really feel like there's no, it almost seems like there's nothing that can be done, and really wonder, it's really going to be an achievement to win this time.
Okay. Aaron?
I kind of piggyback on other people. I think the tension was what I really liked overall. Just the idea of being isolated in Truth or Consequences, New Mexico. Like, I did get the feeling that Kate was like the only person left alive there, and that everyone else was an alien, and it did kind of bring in a fear factor to it.
I liked this episode was written as a sequel to Day of the Doctor, and I like the fact that it does give an awful lot of shout outs to Day of the Doctor, starting from the very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And because previous Moffat episodes wouldn't do that, even if they were a shout out to a previous story, it would just happen and they would just assume that you remembered them from a previous episode. Such as whenever they brought the Weeping Angels back, they would never mention, what happened in Blink or what happened here. Here, it's like, this is what happened in Day of the Doctor, and this is now. So I really like the fact that they're paying attention now and remembering to make those little notes.
Yeah, it was. There were some elements that were reintroduced this season, such as Unit, the specific members, and then they were anything from before this season. They basically gave you some sort of reference, if not in detail.
Okay, so things you didn't like, Matt.
I think the one thing I have to nitpick is that it seems like we had mostly just one guy the entire episode in one Zygon suit. It looked, I don't know for sure, but it looked like maybe we had a maximum of 2 different Zygons. The rest were all digitaled in when we had the effects for it. Which I also will add that I've already seen some of those still images of next week that problem is actually going to be solved, thank goodness. Because even the old Zygons had slightly different faces depending on who was acting. And you can actually tell the leader apart from the others very easily.
All right.
So that seems a little bit lost right now, but hopefully they'll be coming back next episode and that will clear up that problem almost instantly.
Tim?
I really did not like the Colonel.
Oh, mm-hmm.
In this episode, that whole thing where like it's not paranoia if you really could be blown up at any time. You know, I really don't like characters with that mindset. I don't find them interesting at all, and it just sort of brought down the episode, and like it sort of was playing against what I like about the Doctor who's on top of it has to deal with this this person like who is like just it's a big wrench in his machine that he doesn't need right now.
Well, it doesn't help that her men were rather incompetent.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did kind of fall for.
They fell for the easiest trick in the book.
It is also, the cliche military solution to any problem is to throw a bomb at it.
Mm-hmm.
It seems even more so in Doctor Who.
Well, actually, it's actually considered American foreign policy by some people, like George Carlin. He referred to it as bigger dick foreign policy. They've got bigger dicks.
First we send someone in
bomb
to
them.
quietly assassinate their leader and pretend that we had nothing to do with it. And then only when that fails or blows up in our face do we bomb them.
No. We send someone in to check their dick size. And if they have bigger dicks than us, we bomb them. That is why it's called bigger dick foreign policy.
But first we arm terrorists to beat them, and then we only bomb those terrorists after they take power.
Mm-hmm.
Wah, wah, wah. World politics, everybody.
Anyway. But yeah, the bomb-happy military man, I mean, that's actually was a lot of arguing between the Third Doctor and the Brigadier in the unit era.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but the difference, I think, is the Brigadier is likable.
He's not an asshole, and bombing is actually usually his last alternative.
Yeah, but I mean,
although that's also why the Silurians kind of destroyed the Third Doctor era for a lot of people.
Oh yeah, because doesn't he wind up blowing up?
Because the Doctor, because they pretty much blew them up, and the Doctor was like, "Oh well, next episode."
Yeah, I thought he was actually a little put off by that, but the fact
he was
that
very
was
put off by that at the end of that
until
episode.
The serial ended, and then when the next serial began, he was perfectly fine with them again.
Well, that's the next serial. You always assume some time passes.
Mm-hmm.
I think
it's not like the next day.
No, but the fact that he was still willing to work with them on a regular basis after that serial happened put a lot. He did
have a lot of contacts.
I believe the Brigadier has a trope named after him for a reasonable authority figure.
You are talking about the person whose catchphrase was called 5 rounds rapid, right?
Well, I didn't make the thing up, I'm just...
Well, he was trying to keep the threat at bay, Randy. What else do you expect him to do?
Corporal,
the Doctor has
rapid.
Although the main Brigadier quote that I tend to remember is, "I wish just once we'd made an alien menace that wasn't impervious to bullets."
No, I mean, that was the name of Nick Courtney's autobiography, I think, was 5 rounds rapid.
Ah.
Well, the thing is that he's trying to do his best to keep something at bay while the Doctor figures out his plan.
Yeah, but I mean, for a one-shot person, the trigger-happy gung-ho is, a standard cliche. It is a bit cliche.
Yes, but he's also a military man, so what else?
I'm not talking about the Brigadier, Matt. He's reoccurring. I was going back to the topic of conversation, which is...
It didn't sound like that, but anyway.
No, yeah. What was she?
Colonel?
A colonel?
Yeah, the colonel. And I will admit, usually it's a male figure that's actually part of the cliche.
Which is a little bit different.
Yeah. I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
Gives you cancer.
But, So having that being done by a female was new, but I don't really think added much to the cliche.
Mhm.
So yes, we know they have hostages and everything, so we're going to bomb them. Seriously? Okay, Phil.
I'm gonna go
Least
with
favorite.
I'm gonna go with what Matt said a little while ago, but not during his point. The fact that the soldiers were kind of rubbish and fell for the first trick that was put in front of them after multiple warnings, and just
I
Yeah.
know.
in
I
general were
was.
not competent to deal with an alien shapeshifter threat.
I know. I was actually going. I'm actually going to talk about that more in scenes I didn't like, because that was my choice. But yes, the general competence of unit soldiers, I think, should have been a little better, especially since their main leader is Kate Stewart, who should know better.
Yeah, they seemed so well organized in Dark Water.
Yeah, what happened to that?
Missy,
Well, they convinced the Cybermen to fly away, or
Missy,
at least
apparently
weren't
unit had to post
obliterated
mortality
them.
rates and had to thus pick up the lowest bidder.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yarg.
No, that's
notice-
true. She did vaporize half of their competent people this season, didn't she?
Yes.
Yeah. She also got rid of one of the strongest links between the humans and the Zygons, so
That was last season.
that was last season,
Well, it was
yes.
tail end of last season, but that was more or less the beginning of this season too.
Yeah, well, no, that's when she got rid of the link was last season. This season, she just vaporized people willy-nilly.
So this episode not only has links to Day of the Doctor, but it's had links to several episodes previously. We've seen kind of a little fallout effect of Missy's.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, the master inadvertently set this stuff to happen.
Yeah, I'm actually, seeing this. Yeah, we had to post mortality rates, so we had to get some people from some of the lowest bidders. Fortunately, we got Americans anymore, and we would have had to get in the French.
Hey kids, who wants to see a dead body?
You caught the reference, Matt.
He took all
Oh.
the pictures on the way here.
Reminds me, I have to go see if a new episode of that is up.
Yeah, I have to double check that too. Anyway,
So, Aaron, what was your least favorite thing in general?
Hmm. I don't really know if I had one, to be honest.
the least favorite element that wasn't covered already, yeah.
Yeah.
It starts to become nitpicking.
Yeah, because in general, I really like this episode. I can't really think of anything that I really disliked that was, overall. Yep, I'm going to take a pass on it.
I think I have to too, because Zygons same, soldiers incompetent. That's really basically my issues.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Oh, favorite scenes. Yeah.
Scenes that you like, Matt. Wow, we're really booking along.
Yeah, apparently we're just tearing through this today, so I guess we'll have time to chatter afterwards a bit.
Yep.
Yeah.
Scenes I like. Trying to pick fish out of a barrel. Oh, which one to go with? I'll pass for now. I'll try to think of it.
All
Come
right,
back to me
Tim.
when I remember.
Okay, favorite scenes. I like the Doctor playing Amazing Grace on his guitar.
God damn it, Tim!
And I'm waiting for the Doctor to say, It's a sonic guitar.
It is
at
sonic
that point, I might
because
have
it
to
makes
turn off.
sound.
Aren't all guitars a little sonic?
That's
Yes.
kind of my
But
point.
this one actually is a sonic guitar.
No.
No, they all are, Tim. All guitars are sonic because sonic is sound. Bum, bum, bum.
All right, Bill, your favorite scene.
I'm going to have to go with the ambush scene. The sequence
Oh.
from them finding the host bodies, for lack of a better term, in the Zygon pods, all the way through cutting away from Bonnie at the end of the scene. That whole scene. Just
Okay.
well done.
Aaron?
Dr. Frankenstein.
Didn't he use that like 2-3 times in there?
No,
I
he
don't
said
know.
Dr. Disco before, and then I thought
Yeah.
he was saying like Frankenstein until I saw someone quoted as Funkenstein.
Funkenstein is what he said. Yes,
Yeah, I
Funkenstein.
thought he was saying Frankenstein with an accent.
Could have been worse. He could have
Frankenstein.
said he was Dr. Frankenfurter. Let's come into the lab and
But
see
Ran,
what's on
wouldn't
the
that mean he'd
slab.
have to run around in fishnets?
You don't know what's under the trousers. Except we kind of do, because of the scene I was going to list as my favorite scene, which is the Doctor and Osgood talking on the plane. And he starts commenting about the question mark lapels, and then she asks why he stops wearing them, and he's like, well, I still do. I'm wearing question mark underpants. It was such a non sequitur that it actually made me stop.
Cosplayers take note.
If you want to go all the way.
You want to bet somebody out there, some website is going to be selling question mark underpants now. to play as the Doctor or the Riddler.
I remember the day this episode aired. Before I watched it, I saw someone selling underpants with, I think it had, it was panties, I think, with Sylvester McCoy's face and question marks on the side of it.
Oh, by the way, I have it now.
What do you have?
Favorite
Question
scene.
mark underpants?
Alright.
So my favorite scene, mind blown officially when the Kalar switch happened. That was a twist I did not see until the very end, and then when you go back, apparently you can see all the hints.
Yep.
See, that one for me,
yeah.
As soon as she said we need to kill them, that's what set off a red flag in my head.
Yeah, but rewatching it, I mean, you could see the hint when she knew what truth or consequences was.
True.
Mm-hmm. She was
But then,
setting up that trap too.
I did believe that Clara is the type of person that would memorize every card in the Trivial Pursuit box so she could win, though. So
I used to try to do that. I honestly did. I'd sit there and I'd read those cards because I was bored, actually. But anyway, so what's your least favorite scene, Matt?
Oh, so we have a few questions that don't make any sense yet, and I understand that this was set up as a trap, but why? Why is Kate Lethbridge Stewart so stupid that she would go off somewhere that's possibly a booby trap alone? That, in particular, also doesn't make any goddamn sense.
My thought was that she probably had some sort of backup that we just never saw.
No, I
But
saw
apparently
only one lone vehicle. If she had backup, she would have had them hiding
Well, if
somewhere.
there was backup, you wouldn't see the other
No,
vehicles. They'd be coming later.
You'd see her directing them or something.
It's not something the Brigadier would have done.
And that's definitely not something the Brigadier should have done.
In fact, if he had tried, Yates would have actually probably kicked his ass for it. But
Yes, exactly.
I think he would have just brought Benton with him.
Or
yeah,
Benton would have
even
been
if it was just Benton, but there should have been somebody else there.
somebody, anybody, at least a couple people, if not a whole battalion out there watching her back.
There probably would have been a couple people that vanished and were wearing red shirts under their uniforms.
Well, that's to be expected if you brought a whole group with you.
Then again, we might discover that Kate Stewart's actually the most competent of them all. But we'll see.
But we'll see next week. Yeah.
All right, Tim, your least favorite scene.
My least favorite scene is the scene where the Doctor is messing with the Zygon controls, and Clara says, "Do you want to be alone?" And I don't like this scene mainly because it's a shame on me, because my first reaction was, man, Clara's not acting like herself. And even when I saw that, I still didn't put two and two together until it was way later. And of course Clara's not acting like herself because she's not herself.
Yeah, I was too busy having flashbacks back to Liz Sladen and Billy Piper
School
talking
reunion,
about the Doctor
yeah.
and the TARDIS.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that hit me too.
Yeah.
I did notice lipstick shade change. It kind of bothered me, and then, second time around I realized what it was, obviously.
Dun dun dun.
It's like they had Jenna Coleman film all of her Clara scenes in one day and then film all of the Zygon scenes in the next day or two.
That would make sense.
And in between those two filming days, they got the tube of lipstick was destroyed or something, and they tried to replace it with the exact one and didn't get it right.
Although that said, they probably couldn't do that because there's probably a mixture of set and location filming, so they probably did have to alternate Clara Bonnie.
In which case, that was deliberate by costuming.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, Bill, your least favorite scene. If it's going to be the same as mine, we'll wait till Erin does hers.
We'll wait till Erin does hers.
Okay. Erin, your least favorite scene.
Trying to think of one. I think maybe the kid screaming on the father's shoulder. It feels like it should attract more attention than it did, but it's just a little nitpick
And
for me.
that bothered me when I thought that Clara ignored it.
Yeah.
But then when they cut back and showed what actually happened, that satisfied it for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So the elephant in the room, the unit soldiers being lured in and killed by the Zygon impersonating their families.
The one who couldn't tell him where he was born.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
He couldn't tell
Don't
him
shoot me
what the
because-
date he was born. What kind of parent forgets that?
Couldn't tell them the name of his favorite teddy bear as a kid. I can tell you this. Somebody could hold my mother over hot lava and ask them what my favorite stuffed animal was as a kid, and she'd be able to tell you.
Oh,
Pretty
guarantee
sure
you that too.
mine as well.
Yep.
As
I
a parent, you say that 1,000 times to your kid, it becomes permanently ingrained in your head.
I'm pretty
I'm
sure
sorry.
my mother knows at least a top 2.
I'm sorry. The fact that she immediately said, I can't remember, if I had been that soldier, that would have been bam right there.
Yeah, that would have been bam, 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 bam. Not my mother. Plop.
Mm-hmm.
Even then, even assuming that he believed her, my first thought would have been, if you're really my mother, get on your knees and we'll discuss this instead of you acting like someone who's going to keep advancing toward me.
And don't lure me inside this building because this is an obvious trap.
It was absolutely stupid by the unit soldiers. Mind you, the scene itself is well done.
Yes, as
Erin
best as you
commented
can.
on the music itself was the first time she saw
And
it was
that- and-
jarring.
I'm,
And then
I was thinking back to the terror of the Zygons, who would not have been competent enough to pull that off.
Mm-hmm.
So they definitely have improved in their capabilities since then.
Like I mentioned, they've had a couple decades to replan this and actually get better at it.
Yeah,
Mind you,
technically, and from a four-dimensional standpoint, these Zygons are from hundreds of years before the other ones.
Technically, too,
But
yeah.
they apparently lived through at least part of the Time War. So we have no idea how much the civilization has actually advanced. Could be centuries.
But at least a couple decades either way.
it's well, also we did complain about Terror of the Zygons and the fact that we thought that was kind of a really bad part on the actors and the writers to have had them act like that.
Mm-hmm. This is far more convincing.
Mm-hmm. But like I said, the as those soldiers, that should have been that was unacceptable.
They're trained soldiers. They should know better.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what their gut feeling might be, it's obvious something is very wrong here.
Also, it was wonderful the fact that the talking unit soldier was an American.
Hmm.
I was not too certain that the character playing that his mother was actually was not actually a British trying to pull a American
Yeah.
accent.
Speaking of which, even if we believe the one guy, was willing to believe, no, this isn't a Zygon, my commander's a Zygon, just like she's telling me, and followed. There were enough of them. There should have been at least one guy still standing outside the door by the time the others either realized what was going on or were killed. Like, they pretty much went in there and lined up in neat lines specifically to die, which meant that they would have had time to see the war table on the other side of the room.
Mm-hmm.
As the soldier, and you're trying to prove this, guys, wait here. I'm going in. If I'm not out in 5 seconds, shoot them. Something like that.
Right.
Instead of everybody walking blindly and stupidly into the trap.
Yeah.
Seriously, dumb.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It's
so stupid.
really one of the few weak parts of the episode.
Mm-hmm. Pretty much.
So I think we've done that. We're going to hold off on final thoughts, and we're just going to talk. We're going to talk for about 15 minutes here. On what
We
we,
went through this, didn't we?
yeah. Well, we're getting down. We're almost getting down to a system here. So
Yeah.
It's a very simple formula.
So, what are your predictions on how this is going to turn out? Open forum here. So
I'll go with the ones we've already mentioned to start with. That Kate Stewart managed to outsmart or outshoot her Zygon and is pretending to be a Zygon, and that the Doctor either, I'm going to say probably Sonics the missile away, only because he has Osgood with him, which means the plane going down and him just surviving somehow is kind of off the table, unless he comes up with a way for her to do the same.
Mm-hmm.
somehow manages to summon TARDIS.
Although that said, I don't think we saw the plane in any of those publicity photos.
Yeah.
Which actually would probably have been intentional. If the plane survived, they wouldn't want us to know that. That would be a little too much information.
It is very plausible that after the phone got hung up, he quickly used his glasses to bring the TARDIS to him and got everyone on board into the TARDIS and took off quickly.
True. We never see the pilot, do we?
Nope.
We never saw pilots, we only saw guards. But again, it's very easy to consider the idea that he summoned the TARDIS via Sonic somehow and got everyone out of there alive.
That said, speaking of that plane reminds me, I love the idea that Unit had that plane destroyed by Cybermen and then just rebuilt it just in the off chance that the guy who said he didn't want it needed it again. Maybe they knew the Doctor a little too well.
I don't want to be president of the world, but I'd like to run around in a fancy plane.
Doctor, how did you survive the plane blowing up? Fuck you, that's how. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see there. I think somehow either there's going to be a quick TARDIS strip or something here. But yeah, Kate survives. Poses as a Zygon is my thought. And then, of course, they all managed to get Clara out. But how do you think... any predictions on how they're going to actually resolve this mess?
One thing I do want to mention with Clara is that with a lot of companions, Clara being taken by a Zygon would be overly cliche. Whereas in the case of Clara, it actually feels like a breath of fresh air because she's been portrayed as so over-the-top uber competent most of the time that it's actually a relief to see that she gets taken captive once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
At least separately from being taken captive with the Doctor.
Right. Yeah.
Or separately.
Well, no, because even when she's taken captive alongside the Doctor, she usually seems to be in charge and planning what's going on from there, like Robot of Sherwood.
Mm-hmm.
Or future and past versions of herself dying. As when she first showed up.
Yeah, but they're a little different. They're like... the metaphor the analogy that's coming to my mind isn't perfect, but it's like they're potato chips and she's the whole potato.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not like, she's going to die at the end of this. It's like, oh, now we got to go get another Clara.
That would be that would be an interesting twist on the episode. But Clara died, and they're like, oh no, it was just one of the copies. Clara's still in her apartment.
Completely oblivious to everything that's been going on. Oops.
No, you don't understand, Edgar. Clara's like Kenny.
We break one, we just find another one. She's always out there.
That did kind of seem... That was... Although, really, the Kenny role, that's Jack.
Yeah.
Jack is the Kenny of New Who. I mean, you literally can murder him dead and he'll wake up 5 minutes later.
Oh, my back. That hurts. Pop.
I think, what was it? The Master just had such a thrill out of murdering him repeatedly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But then again, Sims was just psychotic. Missy would enjoy it too, no doubt about it.
Oh, she'd enjoy putting him through the ringer a few times, I'm sure. She would get bored after a while, though, and then try to find something even more devious to throw at him.
Kind of picturing her like dressing him up as a bear and making him dance on a ball while she vaporizes parts of him.
But yeah, so any predictions how they get out of this?
Well, obviously something has to go on with that Osgood box.
Yeah.
Yes.
Something in there is obviously important enough that it might be able to turn this around.
The Doctor and Osgood make their way to the Osgood box.
I have a prediction. It turns out the Osgood box is filled with delicious Hostess fruit pies, which
I will reach through the internet and slap you.
Which the Doctor gives to the Zygons, and the Zygons love it so
in old
much.
comics that it makes perfect sense to me.
Yes, it does.
God damn it.
I was actually remembering an old Dexter's Lab which had the Justice fruit pies as the parody of the Hostess. And that was the solution. It's just like Yes, you've been a
They
bad
open
wizard,
the
but
box,
try
it's filled
Justice
with
Fruit Pie.
and Spider-Man, the Hulk, and Thor pass them out to the Zygons.
Oh.
That's how they're going to end the next Avengers movie.
Oh God, could you imagine if they actually work out a deal to have a post-credit bump with Hostess fruit pies just for the sake of the joke?
Oh, and also one
No,
of those
it
office
doesn't.
people rubber band balls.
No, all you would need is a one-liner thing. Is they're trying to figure out how to defeat this. It's like, what are you gonna do? Throw fruit pies at him?
Exactly. Pulls out a whole chest full of them or something and throws them at whatever they're trying to stop.
I'm picturing Thor. He stops Stark. I have found this amazing thing. I have found this delicious product that I was given by Jarvis. Or no, wait, whoever the hell Jarvis is a program now.
Jarvis is a program now.
Yeah, I'm thinking the comic, but whoever the hell they actually have there now. I don't even know if they actually have a butler anymore. But either way.
Yeah, I don't think they actually have a butler. They're kind of still a group that works under S.H.I.E.L.D.
Not after Civil War.
Not after Civil War, yeah. Apparently that's going to change things up again.
We'll see about that. But
Black Panther, yay!
back to the topic.
Mm-hmm.
Does anybody have any predictions on how they're going to resolve this?
Osgood box.
Yeah.
That's my only answer. It's something in the Osgood box.
It depends on what's in the box.
Well, you see, the thing is,
what is in the MacGuffin?
They referred to the Osgood box as the final sanction, which is a term I look on with, mild horror, knowing end of time.
Deal or no deal?
Knowing this doctor, I would not be surprised if he turned around and he's like, the Osgood box is filled with MacGuffinite. That just seems like a very 12th Doctor thing to have.
Well, no. The term final sanction, to me, seems to read that that whatever could be used is going to, kill all the Zygons.
I wonder, though,
the Doctor wouldn't leave it on Earth if that were the case.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, too, is that the Doctor's not one for just mass murder.
If anything, I would be more likely to make all the Zygons forget they were Zygons and literally turn them into humans.
Or teleport them off planet somewhere.
I think if he could have done that, he would have done it already.
Peace was peace.
Because the whole point was that they were looking for a new home.
They're all peaceful right now. And now they've turned. So time to get them off planet.
What started the Zygons? What set them off in the first place?
Apparently the Crossfire and Truth or Consequence started because one of the Zygons forgot to recharge their skin.
But
apparently that's what that started, but it spread awfully quickly.
Yeah,
and shouldn't have gone that far.
One of us forgot to recharge and we were seen. Let's have a revolution. I mean, it seems like, getting from A to B, there's some steps missing there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, to be fair, if something like that happens in a place named Truth or Consequences, somebody is going to be like, hey, yeah, that sounds like a slogan. Yeah, we should have truth. Or consequences. And build a movement out of it. Because that's kind of how politics works.
Yes, but again, there still seems to be some steps missing. How does this go from a local thing to almost a global uprising?
I'm wondering if Boss Face from next episode might have something to do with it too. Because like I mentioned, we noticed that there's some Zygons that don't look exactly alike next episode too, so maybe they have something to do with it.
It's like the Zygons said that they learned something that really pissed them off. What did they learn? Because they said they had been betrayed.
Yeah.
Maybe it was because one of the Osgoods was dead.
I don't
I'm
think
kind
so.
of thinking it's literally just the fact that, at face value, like I said, they're upset that they can't be Zygons in public. But there could be more to it. I just honestly don't feel that there is.
Yeah, I'm not so sure about that yet either. So
I'm wondering if the doctor's going if there is something to this, and the doctor finds out if it's going to be something he's actually going to be angry at Unit about. Something they did, like some form of memory erasure or something.
There is the fact that the Zygon people didn't all get a vote. It was pretty much decided by the commander. So there might be some upset over that.
You mean commanders? You mean the twins that are now dead?
But it wasn't twins as of Day of the Doctor. It was one commander that was dressed up as Kate Stewart, too. Kind of curious about how it went from one commander to two, also.
yeah, that is a little odd. Anywho, all we're going to draw is nothing but I don't know. I think we kind of ran it well on this one already.
Yeah. Like, I'm trying to think of how they can get out of it and how everything's going to wind up, but I'm kind of honestly stumped. Other than the fact that obviously they get out of it from the publicity photos we've seen.
The Osgood box is actually a Jack in the Box, and it pops out and hands all the Zygons burritos.
The Torchwood Pterodactyl, or the Torchwood Pterodon, gives the Loch Ness Monster a ride to conquer the Zygons.
They open the box and there's actually Sonic Driver inside it.
Sonic what?
I'd rather the fruit pies.
Me too.
I honestly, now that you said that, I'm not going to get that image out of my mind, and I kind of really want to see that as an episode finale.
Fruit pies for everybody.
Although that might be because I've been watching Dragon Ball Super, in which the only reason the God of Destruction hasn't destroyed the Earth is because he loves the food. So
Wait,
that might be why
actually-
I want to see that in Doctor Who.
I thought they weren't having Dragon Ball Super on streaming, or is it just kind of illicit activity, shall we say?
It's
Well, it's
on
a
Crunchyroll.
fan sub.
Oh,
Okay.
it should also be on Crunchyroll though. Subtitles.
No, it's not. They're not doing it on any of the streaming sites.
I'm pretty sure I heard it was on Crunchyroll. I know somebody was watching it there.
Because I have Crunchyroll. I can look it up here.
Double check, because I could have sworn it was on Crunchyroll because I heard Dodger was watching
Either
it.
way, not a Doctor Who
Yeah.
thing.
Well, you keep asking questions, we have no answers. We've already run all the possible answers, and we don't have any further explanation on the answers.
So is that all we have to say about the episode then? No other
Other than final thoughts.
Yes.
I'm tapped
All right.
out.
All right.
Yeah.
Final thoughts then. Go ahead, Matt.
Oh, other than a few nitpicks about the mental weaknesses of our soldiers and the questionable actions of some of our leaders in this is otherwise a really good episode, and I can't wait to see what the second half is going to be. Very good tension, very good pacing, and next time we should also hopefully add on some really nice costuming, but we'll have to see when we cross that bridge. And that's
Alright.
all. So, Bill, your
Alright.
turn.
All right. Go ahead, Tim.
Or Tim. Yeah, that's right.
Yes. I think this episode was kind of slightly above average for me. I didn't hate it, but there were things that I think didn't work. But hopefully the things that didn't work will get resolved once the second part airs.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm keeping one finger crossed for the second episode that it'll improve its standing in my eyes. So that's my thoughts.
All right, Bill.
I'm going to say that while, there are the occasional negative thing in the episode, I did definitely find it to be a pretty good first episode. Definitely one of the best cliffhangers I've seen from Doctor Who in a long time. I've seen it described as the best first episode of a two-parter since Silence in the Library, which is possible. I'd have to go back to see when the last cliffhanger of this quality was. Definitely looking forward to seeing what comes in part 2 and hoping that it doesn't break the momentum.
All right, Aaron.
I thought this episode was very intense and really kept the pace up. Also had a few twists and turns that weren't quite predictable. So definitely give it a thumbs up from here.
All right. And I don't know about Silence of the Library because I thought the cliffhanger on the Pandorica Opens was actually pretty good too.
Oh, mm-hmm.
The second episode then proceeded to piss me off, but as
But the cliffhanger
cliffhangers,
was good. Yeah.
as this episode was fairly good. It was acted well. The music was engrossing. Cinematography was good. Pacing was good. Writing was good with all of the shout outs. There's nothing particularly wrong with this episode except for that one glaring scene of annoyance where soldiers are stupid because of plot. And other than that, it's a great episode. I'm not going to try reviewing it until I can see the second half of it because, as in the case of all two-parters, the second part of it is going to really make or break it.
Yarg. So,
And really, that's all I have to say about that.
Yep, guess it's time, Bill.
All right. Well, if you enjoy listening to us and or watching us, please like our videos on YouTube and subscribe on YouTube.com, Twitch.tv, and Mixcloud.com. You can also like and follow us on Facebook and Twitter. I forgot which was which for a second because I don't do much following lately. And if you want to support us, you can head on over to patreon.com/Unearthly Podcast. Of course, don't forget to join us next week, same time, same channel, for the Zygon Invasion, once again by Peter Harness.
Okie doke.
Alrighty.
See you then.
See you all
See ya.
next week.